Yeah, it sucks how the TV deal is worked out for the playoffs because I don't know if you guys know that TNT gets two of the games.
And they get the
And
prime time
this
spots.
year it's the primetime slots, so the Friday night game and the A&M game's at noon. So after those two games, the playoff is going to suck.
Yeah, because then it's Tulane, Ole Miss, and JMU in Eugene at
Boy, they did it
7:30.
too because the NFL like blew them out last year in ratings.
What game was head to head with the NFL?
Steelers Ravens.
Oh, okay.
It was Steelers Ravens and then Clemson Texas, and the Steelers Ravens like blew it out.
It's
I feel like
insane.
I might have been switching back and forth from that.
It's insane that like the NFL and college football can't work out some sort of agreement to like
Yeah,
be
remember that like
lead-ins.
Pate Klatt episode like 2 years
Yeah.
ago where they
That
talked
was a
about
great
that?
episode. Yes. Like, dude, the college football is such an ambassador for the NFL. Like, it's the league. It's why it's part of the reason the NFL is like people are so attached to the NFL because like they have followed the players for 10 years of their lives. Um,
I'm sure there's like contractual issues with the NCAA. Like if I'm sure if college football somehow like was able to become its own entity, then it could negotiate with the NFL because
Oh, the playoff isn't connected to the NCAA, so I wonder if they could like work that out.
maybe that could be part of the new like what's taking them so long is the like TV deal for the playoff.
Yeah.
That could be part of it.
Because it definitely gets sold separately than the conference packages and the NCAA.
what are you looking at, Arch?
ESPN and the TV stuff. Yeah, TNT gets Tulane versus Ole Miss and JMU versus Oregon. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, that sucks for TNT. They just paid for the night slot and just get two.
Two worst
They were
games.
banking on like the 11 seed being like some Power Four team. I mean, they knew they're getting the 12 game, but
Virginia.
no. Well, like at the beginning of the season, they're thinking like, all right, like if
Oh yeah, at least it's a
Clemson
Power
wins the
Four team. Yeah,
ACC,
yeah,
so
yeah.
maybe it's Oklahoma at the 11th seed. Like, all right, we can
Instead, they
market.
get James Madison University.
Well, then and well
123rd
then and
strength of schedule.
Tulane, Ole Miss, like that's their two games. They just get 14, like 17-point
I
spreads.
think that game will do a lot of numbers
Yeah,
at
that
first.
that's got way more intrigue.
I think people like I don't think many people are gonna like go out of their way to tune into um
James Madison.
but I do think people will want to see Ole Miss and just like that'll be a big storyline game at least.
Yeah, no doubt. Do you want to get this thing rolling, fellas, or you got something to say,
Yeah.
Arch? I see your lips kind of.
I was gonna say, did y'all see that who Clemson plays in their bowl game?
Yeah,
No,
Penn State. Dude, Pitt
Yeah,
got screwed.
that is a hilarious
Pitt
dude,
got
that's an
completely
awesome.
screwed.
Who's Pit play?
ECU.
ECU.
Dude,
Eh,
Dude, that's a
Pretty
big
always
sure, pretty
we
sure
always
ECU played in this exact same bowl last year against NC State and they won.
dude, that's the biggest failure on the Pinstripe Bowl for not selecting Pitt to play Penn State.
I can't believe
They should have
we
totally done
always get
that.
like a max score. Like we play Eastern Michigan every year in our bowl game. It's so terrible.
Because
Penn
why
State
like
would have been that was so prime. I don't know why they didn't
dude,
do
I don't
Yeah,
know. I'm like the Pinstripe Bowl because they kind of get to pick. And I feel like Pitt people would have traveled.
dude,
it.
Pitt
In New
Penn State.
York. Yeah,
Yeah, Pitt Penn State would have like
Are
yeah.
Clemson's players going to be playing? Like that just seems like a little bit of a like. Are all those guys going to play? Like I don't know.
Avion
Some
Terrell isn't. I don't think he already posted he was.
Yeah, he's done. I mean, there's their best player. So
Lenore's posted an Instagram post today with no caption and people are tweaking out on Twitter.
What was the picture?
It was just like a bunch of it was like a postseason dump.
mm,
Okay, no caption.
yeah, we'll monitor that season when the off season comes out. Um, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 21st episode of the Forward Pass Podcast. We've got myself, Luke Duska, Sam Perry, and Caleb Archer in the proverbial building to talk a little bit of college football. Today, we start off with the committee. We've been very harsh on the committee and we should be harsh on the committee and Hunter Yurchek, the clown leading the clown circus on Tuesday nights when I learn less about the sport and become more confused when they talk about their reasoning. But somehow we got to the point where Miami did jump Notre Dame. Miami's a 10 seed. They beat Notre Dame in a head-to-head matchup. They both were 10-2 with the same strength of schedule, I think like in the 40s. And I'm glad the head-to-head proved to work itself out. But that does still suck for Notre Dame Fighting Irish because they got baited and played for the past 5 weeks as they thought like, okay, this is how the committee's thinking. This is how the committee's thinking. And then at the end of the day, they pull the rug from under them and there's no more playoff. Fellas, what do you think about the overall? I think that's the biggest storyline. The second biggest storyline is obviously two Group of 5 teams who have no business touching an opportunity to play for a national championship, playing for a national championship. But of those two things, pick out and just start rambling about it.
I think the biggest issue isn't necessarily Miami getting in over Notre Dame. I don't have any issue with that at all.
No,
I think where the main issue lies is the fact that Notre Dame was ranked ahead of them for basically the entire rest of the season once the playoff rankings came out. And then it felt like and then they were both null and Bama jumped them, so they were next to each other, which then led Miami to go over them, which doesn't really make a lot of sense in
but
theory.
and BYU needed to lose in order for them to actually get compared to each other, even though they were both 10-2 with a very similar strength of schedule and a
And
head-to-head
also,
matchup.
dude, and Reese Davis was asking Yurchek about that when he was talking to him after, and he basically just ignored the question. He was like, "Why does it matter when they're next to each other in the rankings? Like, why does that not factor into the rankings before they're next to each other?" And he just completely avoided that question.
And the reason
And then he claimed that he answered every single question.
Yeah. Well, the reason he's avoided the question was because they messed up in the beginning by putting Miami at 18 and Notre Dame in the top 10. And those are two 10-2 teams with vastly similar resumes who they had to somehow get them closer together. They should have just admitted their mistake early and then and got to where they needed to get to, not waiting for the rest of the chips to fall and playing Notre Dame like a game. Because obviously head-to-head matters. What are we talking about? It's why you play the sport. It's why, like we've said on this podcast, you don't come watch the band.
Yeah, I think too, this is just shaped up again to have the second year in a row of what was supposed to be this epic 12-team playoff where all these teams get a chance to where you're sitting there well, there's 3 or 4 teams at home that could probably compete with them as well because we're letting in 2 G5 schools. And I think you're going to see at least 2 out of 4 blowouts and kind of start wondering if this is the right model. And I personally think that in the case of this, sometimes things need to be broken down so much in order for people to realize all right, we need to change the wording and just the overall way that this works. So I think that next year, regardless of the number of teams, the number of automatic bids is going to change, as well as this whole committee slash week by week ranking system as well.
Yeah, I mean,
what's the point of the week by week ranking?
Yeah, no, I agree. But with the point of the Group of 5, the wording has to you've got to think that the wording will end up being just the 12 highest ranked football teams in the country, and they don't get any automatic bids. The only thing is does the ACC sign off on that? Because
I think that ACC is going to change their tiebreaker policy,
which
to kind of what the AAC, when we were talking about this a couple weeks ago, I don't think we talked about it on the show, but the AAC, I'm 99% sure, has as part of their tiebreaker for the conference title is highest ranked team.
The AAC did it right. Yeah, that's why Navy didn't
so
get in.
you're comparing a BC win in the ACC.
Yeah.
And then the bigger problem lies in the fact that you have these mega conferences and no one's playing each other. So there's just a lot of issues with this format.
Yeah. Well, what would be the best format, fellas?
2 teams.
Well, yeah. Well, I was just going to say the 14 playoff.
Yeah.
What other 4 teams deserve to play in the national
4 or
championship?
6 team playoff would have been perfect this year.
Yes.
But
Yes.
Well,
But
6 gets dicey with. Yeah,
Ole
I
Miss,
agree with
Oklahoma.
6, but there would be a big debate on
A&M and
Oregon.
Ole Miss.
A&M, Ole Miss, Oregon, that whole.
All right. Well, yeah, you had chances to win football games. Like,
That's I want to hop in there. I don't care if this is a reductive statement at all. Every fan base, I'm especially looking at Notre Dame and especially looking at BYU to a lesser extent. Every fan base that thinks they should have made the playoff and that didn't make it, you had your chance to make it and you didn't get the job done when you were
football
supposed
games
to.
were played.
And that's the reason you're not in the playoffs. It's not because the system's corrupt or the committee's bias towards certain conferences or certain teams. It's because you didn't win the games you were supposed to. Texas is probably a top 12 team. That I actually would go out. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Texas is a top 12 team, and it would have been fun if they made the playoffs, but they did lose to Florida, and that matters. And the games matter. The rules are what they are. The committee has a set specific guidelines. The rankings week to week definitely don't make sense. The explanation doesn't make sense, but the outcome that the committee eventually came to based off of their criteria was 100% correct. And if it means that 2 G5 teams get in, then that's just what we have to deal with this year. But like Sam was saying, I'm sure it's gonna change in the coming years so that something like this doesn't happen. It's probably a little too inclusive if the system works in a way that allows 2 teams to get in from the G5. As much as I hate saying that because it's not the same. The ACC isn't great either, but it's still a better conference top to bottom than any G5 conference, and it makes sense that they should like and Miami making it in makes 100 like that makes so much sense. And anyone that argues against that, I think anyone that argues against Alabama getting in is wrong too.
wrong.
Because
So wrong.
the precedent was set last year that if you make a conference championship game and you lose, that's not going to affect your ranking. I don't know why people thought that would change. And you can say BYU as well, but I think that the set of circumstances is different because it's them losing to the same team twice, and they were also already. I think that it was implied by the committee that they weren't going to make the playoff when they got bumped down. They weren't going to make the playoff if they lost that game.
And
that was kind of known already going into it.
And I think they were in a super fair position. We are going to give you a chance to either to like avenge your loss and get in the playoff, or you lose and you're not in. Like, I think BYU takes that 11 times out of 11 if that's what they're offered at the beginning of the season. Like, hey, like, we know you don't play in the best conference, and like your schedule is a hell of a lot easier than what Oklahoma just played and what Alabama just played. But if you win this football game, you're in.
I disagree. I think that like there's an opposite state. Now, I'm not saying that BYU should be in the playoff, but you're setting a precedent of like Bama does not get affected by their conference title game. SMU last year lost their conference title game, did not affect them. But for some reason it affects BYU, who had a higher strength of record.
Did it affect them?
They got dropped out of the playoff. They were in the playoffs.
They were not in the playoff.
Yes, they were. They were ranked ahead of Miami. They were ranked ahead of Miami.
I get
so BYU would have been
but
better
they
off
weren't in the playoff. They still weren't in the playoff. They were just ahead.
But they were ahead of Miami.
But they weren't.
In the playoff now.
Yes. No. But my point is this. I get what you're saying. But BYU probably should have never been ranked ahead of Notre Dame and Miami then.
Right, but then what BYU has no incentive of playing that football game if they are ahead of Miami and you say, all right,
but they weren't getting in the playoff.
Well, that's where you can talk about the flaws in the week to week rankings when you talk about that then, because if BYU was not like destined to play in the Big 12 championship game like they ended up doing, the committee wouldn't have ranked them in the top 12. They would have kept them out on purpose, but
right,
you could see the tinkering that they were doing week to week to set up specific outcomes when something happened.
They used BYU as a buffer so that people couldn't yell at them and say, like, why are Notre Dame and Miami not being compared head to head? Like, they used BYU's logo
100%
as like a way to separate the two logos that people really cared about. Because so that's my point. Is like that's the committee's fault. Like, do you think a one-loss BYU in the Big 12, like, let's say the Big 12 championship didn't exist. Like, we're back at Baylor TCU 2014. Like, does BYU deserve to be in the playoff? 11-1 from the Big 12?
I'm not saying they should have, but I'm just saying based on the
Then what are you
precedent
saying?
set, it's like they're punishing them for losing a conference title game, but you have yet
They
to
didn't.
punish
They
a team.
didn't. They didn't punish them.
They
They weren't.
dropped in the rankings.
They didn't punish them. They weren't going to be in the playoff, regardless if they were the 11, which you had to be in the top 10 because
But
Tulane.
Miami, they fell behind Miami because they lost
Well,
the game.
and if they would have, but if they lost the game and Miami didn't exist, Notre Dame still would have been in ahead of them.
I'm not saying that they should be in the playoff. I'm saying that the fact that last year SMU lost the ACC championship game. They did not move in the rankings. Alabama got run out of the building in the SEC championship game, did not drop in the rankings. BYU loses their conference title game, drops in the rankings.
No,
So I'm just saying,
I don't think you can use SMU as an example because last year SMU was the top seed
and they were firmly
in the
in.
ACC.
They were
They were
firmly in.
firmly in the playoffs because of the games they won prior to the ACC championship game, and then they got upset by the team ranked behind them in the conference championship game. So they were already firmly set into the playoff going into the ACC championship. I think it's different than BYU because a team in their conference was already ranked above them, and then they lost to that team again. And it was the only team that they already lost to. So
And then-
I think it's hard to compare those two just
Well,
because
Sam,
of the differences.
I agree with your point. Your point. Can I say your point a different way? And let's say if you agree.
yeah,
It's the committee is fraudulent the way they used BYU to do the Notre Dame Miami thing. And like that should have never been the case anyways, because you're right. BYU they should have been idle. They should not have moved because like they did play in the conference championship game. But I just think the committee was using them for the sake of Notre Dame Miami.
For the Notre Dame buffer.
Which is BS.
which is weird to begin with.
And
Yeah.
stupid,
Yes.
and like that should never happen. But that's the reality. So like when people say like, "Oh, BYU moved down a spot," like they really didn't. Like that's probably where the committee like had them, and this was how they were going to use. Like if BYU wins, great. We don't even have to have the discussion of like Miami Notre Dame. And if BYU loses, we can just drop them down a spot, make them go head to head, put Miami in. All of our sins are forgiven, right?
That's also why the committee rankings are ridiculous in the first place, because it goes back to the Reese Davis question. Why was the Miami Notre Dame head-to-head considered when they were next to each other in the rankings, but not before? When they were ranked behind BYU, they're worse than Notre Dame, but when they're ranked in front of BYU, they're better than Notre Dame.
Exactly.
So that's the most ridiculous part is the week to week rankings, like we've been saying.
Yes, it's actually the being like, well, we thought BYU was better than Miami, and Miami was better than Notre Dame, and then so we're just gonna completely ignore. We're not even gonna touch the Miami Notre Dame head-to-head thing because like that's our logic. Is that what did you? I kind of cut you off, Dusker. Is that what you were saying?
No, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Like, but so just sad on that level. What do you guys think about like Notre Dame? Because Notre Dame bitches. They are not going to a bowl game. They pull out. They're making a big deal about this. Notre Dame fans are making a big deal about this. But you know damn well if roles were reversed and this was Miami who had lost a head-to-head game and they just flipped resumes, Notre Dame fans would be banging the drum about head-to-head. Like, you know, this is like logically not sound, any of the argument Notre Dame fans are making. But what do you guys think about schools in general? This is not just Notre Dame, Kansas State, Iowa State, Temple, not going to bowl games, and like what precedent is that setting? Like, is this like just I really think this is very poisonous to like the college football landscape. What say you guys?
I'm gonna say I guess understandable for Iowa State. Like you just lost your coach. Same thing with Kansas State, but Kansas State, I don't think they were bowl eligible, but they got the invite. I think it matters less for like the smaller schools like Temple that are 5-7 and the logistics that are going to have to go through like that travel and the cost of that. Like when you technically didn't deserve it, you just got it because you were 5-7 and your APR or something like that's higher. Like it's more excusable then, but like the Notre Dame is like the softest shit I've ever seen in my life. It's like it's unbelievable, and it's like I don't get it at all. Like you play your game to like you win.
Pretty anti-competitive.
You lost 2 games that you lost them, and then you're like you played 10 teams win that, and then you expect to be ranked it's like the entitlement to think that it's because you're in your brand, like you should be in the playoff and that. And then you have the thing to say, like, no, we're sticking it to the man. We're not going to let Notre Dame, like, we're not going to let ESPN use our national brand in a bowl game since they didn't think we were. It's the stupidest shit I've ever seen. It makes zero sense. It's a whole, like, it's the
entitlement's the best word you used out of that whole.
They think like their shit doesn't stink, and they think that like people watch college football for Notre Dame. I watch college football sometimes so I can see Notre Dame get embarrassed, and they did it themselves this time. It's disgusting in my opinion.
The other thing is like, oh, sorry, go ahead, Arch.
I was going to say the last thing. I just like my Notre Dame tangent. The worst thing this college football playoff has done is teams that are like 9-3 or 10-2 talking like they just like. I saw a tweet about it. They're talking like they were 2003 USC or something like that. Like they act like it's like the greatest disservice to mankind because you won 5/6 of your games and think that you should like, and they think it's like they like antitrust and all that. Like join a conference, and then the whole like they sign an agreement that starts next year that if they're in the top 12, they automatically have them. Like just my God. And y'all know my opinion today with the ACC. They're gonna regret this. They damaged the relationship, dude. You cherry pick BC, Syracuse, UNC, and some other ball sack team. Yeah, every year. Like
I think it's a rotating.
Yeah. No, but they choose their teams that they like. They can cherry pick it like that, and that's why you never see him play. You never see him play Clemson or like they saw him play Clemson because it was home and home before they did their whole ACC agreement. Like now they're going to schedule MAC schools and. It's just ridiculous. The message is join a conference, and you think you're holier than that because you think you're just better than that.
Yeah, I have two things about Notre Dame. I'll first backing up Arch. Like, what are you proving to anyone? Like, you're not playing in a bowl game is not you're not sticking it to the man, and everyone is going to have a similar opinion. You're copping out. You're upset you didn't make the playoff, and you're not proving anything to anyone by sitting out. Everyone just is kind of annoyed with the program. And I like Notre Dame. I like the brand. I like watching them play. And then the other thing is we've seen for so long Notre Dame being able to sit idle on conference championship weekend after winning 10, 11 games and benefit from whatever the outcomes of those championship games are, and them being able to sit firm with their record. And this is the first time I can remember where they're a little bit penalized for not playing in a conference championship. And the second that happens, you see everyone's up in arms and the fan base is on fire and feel like Arch was saying, they're so entitled to everything. They went 10-2. It's their birthright to make the playoffs. Like, I just think it's a little ridiculous. And you benefited from one thing happening for so long, and the second the tables turn, it's the worst thing in the world. And I just think overall, like you guys were saying, it's just uncompetitive and kind of just sad in general for the Notre Dame brand.
And another point I want to make, like they made the right point in my opinion, but the wrong messaging. It's because like they're too selfish to realize like all they could have had to say is like we think that should be the best 12 teams in the playoff, and that like they could publicly support like going away with auto bids and just having the 12 best teams, and people would be like, you know what, I can see that. But they decide to go out there and make it about themselves and be like, if we wanted legislation where if Notre Dame is a top 12 team, we are automatically in. And it's like, you could have easily just made the point that a lot of people would agree with, but then you just had to make it about yourself and like just make it a selfish point. You get what I'm saying?
Well, you know what you should do after that too? It's like you get left out of the playoff, you should go play a bowl game and then just absolutely beat the shit out of whatever team you play and prove the point in that way.
Yeah,
Don't be like, don't be like, oh, I don't want to go play now. Like, go beat up on a team, prove you should have made the playoffs.
Go play
prove
Vandy,
the system's flawed.
Dude, how good would how great would be a Notre Dame Vandy game? Like, oh.
Because Diego Pavia is playing in the bowl game. They're not scared.
Yeah, like that'd be a great matchup.
I know Arch doesn't like him, but you got to admit that's going to happen. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, it'll be his last bowl or last football game, so he'll probably cherish it.
I have a take about the Notre Dame thing, the top 12 teams. I think that's kind of a lazy narrative right now that's going around that like it's their fault. Like they signed that a while ago, being in the top 12. So like now people are just bringing that up because they got left out this year. But this is part like I don't think you can really blame Notre Dame for signing that and saying, well, since we don't get the ability to play in a conference championship game, we should, if we're in the top 12, then we should make the playoff regardless. So that's not, in my opinion, not a bad like thing for them to do.
But they know there's a G5 conference champ. They know that. They know that.
This is for future playoffs there is no future playoff other than it's going to be 12 teams.
I know, but instead of being like the top 12, they could have just said the top 12 teams should make it. And if
they signed that part of their deal is like the auto bid. That's their auto bid. This isn't them saying anything. This is a real thing where if they're ranked inside the top 12, they automatically make the playoff as an auto bid.
But why is my whole thing?
Time out.
I blame the CFP for allowing that to happen. Why are they treated? My whole thing. This is my gripe with Notre Dame. No other team that's in a conference that actually plays like a conference schedule has an agreement. Like Georgia doesn't have one. Like if you're in the top 12, you're in. Like if they're going to make the conference title, they're going to be in. But like no school has that other than Notre Dame. And I get Notre Dame's whole independent. It's such a because like when you can control your own schedule, like that has rubbed me the wrong way right now. Like you control your schedule, you didn't do what you had. Like I get the whole thing. I just think it's like the dumbest. I don't agree with it.
Yeah, wait, Sam. So why are you? Well, if they weren't they in the top 12 this year?
This is for future playoffs. This was signed.
It started in 2026. They signed it last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, that's good though because that started this year, and they said that they had like CFP had to come out on Sunday and say that we have to report that we signed a agreement. Like we would have Miami, but we have to put Notre Dame. Like I don't know if the playoff would have happened this year.
Yeah.
Also,
go ahead, Sam.
No, this is like a dumb hypothetical. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say my only other thing about teams opting out of bowl games is from the player perspective, like who I would assume the administration and the coaching staff are making this decision, and that's just brutal for the players. Like if you're a Notre Dame senior and you're like, okay, well at least we went 10-2, we get to go play a bowl game, and I get to play my last game as a member of the team. Like now that's just not happening. So I think just from a player's perspective, I would be super upset if I worked hard all season, we qualified for a bowl game. Even like Iowa State, I understand they don't have a coach, but they could field a team for a bowl game, and they could still give that opportunity to their guys to go out and play one more time. And unless it's, I mean, I would assume we don't really know how the decision process works, but I would assume the players don't really have any say in whether their team plays in a bowl game or not. So it's just from a player perspective, it rubs me the wrong way. And like Chuck was saying, that's just a bad precedent too.
Allegedly, Notre Dame's players voted on it, which makes it all the more sad, in my opinion.
That's extremely sad.
Like the way y'all talked about it, like if you really thought you were one of the 12 best, go prove it. Like I remember, I was old enough to remember 2 years ago, Georgia lost by 3 to Bama in the SC title, got moved from 1 to 6.
And they dropped 60.
And then they went and beat Florida State, who there's 2 ways you respond to like the adversity of stuff like this. Florida State, look at them since. They're like, I think they're probably like 5-19. Georgia's 22-2 or 23-2 or 21-3. Like there's 2 ways you respond. Georgia responded the right way by going out there and playing and whooping their ass. Florida State pouted. Notre Dame, we'll see if that trend continues. But I think it's all the more sad the players apparently had a voice in it.
In a little life lesson mentality for everybody listening, like 10% of life is like what happens to you. And then the other 90% is how you respond. So just bad precedent for like not getting your way and then just go pouting about it. Like just go play football. Like that's what we do. Like, dude, we literally are college football players. Like your job is to play football. Like let's do our job. Let's DYJ. Like whatever. But I don't play for Notre Dame. I'm not even close to good enough to play for Notre Dame. So what do I know?
I wouldn't want to play for them anyway.
On the topic of bowl games, what I wish would happen, and I think would be kind of fun and make the bowls a little bit more meaningful, would be, I understand there's like contracts and TV things involved, but it would be kind of cool in order to kind of bring some meaning back to bowls if they would get rid of the conference like alignments to bowl games and just straight up rank bowls, like the best bowl down, and then the bowl games pick. So then you have more enticing matchups in bowl games, and like you could have gotten a Pavia versus
Dame.
Notre Dame. Like
Yes.
just to make it more interesting. I don't know. That was just a dumb
No, Sam, great
to
idea.
just get cooler matchups than like you have like fucking ACC 2, who's like whatever in some
Louisville.
years. Or like last year you had Ole Miss playing Duke in the Gator Bowl. Like what is that?
Yeah.
When you could have gotten like I don't know, Ole Miss someone. I don't know. I think it'd be cool
Ole Miss
and
USC.
make the bowl games more meaningful if they ranked the bowls 1 through 30 and each bowl got to choose the matchup down the list.
Perry, great idea. Great idea. So
I feel like they did something like that during the BCS days, or at least they like I don't know. Maybe they just mattered a
BCS
little
was
more.
more like I could be completely wrong, but I feel like in the old days of the BCS, like I'm pretty sure I'm right. The like you could be screwed depending on where the national championship game was. Like you couldn't make it if I'm pretty sure when there was no technical national championship game, like they would call certain bowl games national championships.
yeah. Yeah. It would be like the Peach Bowl and that was the
Like
next.
if it was the Rose Bowl and like it was the number one team, like an AC, and then say like Florida State was number two, like they couldn't make the Rose Bowl because the ACC couldn't get into the Rose Bowl,
Mhm.
like stuff like that.
Yeah. All right. Off of bowl season, let's go to the games that actually happened this week. The first being the Big Ten game in Indianapolis, where Ohio State fall to the mighty Indiana Hoosiers, led by Coach Curt Cignetti, 13-10. So last week I said on the podcast, I was like, listen, I think the best matchup Indiana has is Indiana's defense versus Indiana's offense. And I was kind of excited to see like what defensive coordinator Brian Haynes would throw at the Ohio State offense. And I think in the second half, Ohio State kind of got away from the Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, pushed the ball down the field. In the first half, that seemed more in the bag. But the one thing I will say about Indiana is they did enough to stop early down runs to afford them the opportunities to have Ohio State in third and mediums. And when they got into third and mediums, they just called some insane, like simulated pressures where they have 6 up, the nickel comes, a D lineman drops. Like it was just unbelievable what they were doing on defense. And I just thought the chess match that Indiana played in that game was awesome on defense. So that was cool to kind of see Isaiah Jones fly around and just guys making plays. The second thing was Mendoza had to be accurate on the vertical passing game, deep balls, throwing the back shoulders, throwing posts, and he was. And that was a huge unlock for the offense. And basically those explosive plays like got them into field goal range, which then they kicked a field goal and like won them the game, right? So Charlie Becker has that post ball, and then 3 plays later they throw the Elijah Surratt box fade, right? And that's their only touchdown all day. Charlie Becker has a 3rd and 6 at the end of the game. They need it. They need to play bad. Like last 2 minutes of the game, if the Ohio State gets the ball back with 1:50, if they don't convert this thing, Charlie Becker, fade, bang. Like so, the vertical passing game was huge when it needed to be. I don't think either of these offenses was all that impressive. It was definitely a defensive battle, but Ohio State made a couple more plays when they needed to in the vertical passing game, and then Indiana made a couple more plays in the vertical passing game, and obviously, you guys saw the Mendoza interview at the end. A lot of mixed reviews. I loved it, dude. I loved it. Like he's just who he is, and I think that was kind of refreshing to hear. Hear that.
You see him on McAfee today?
I saw clips. I didn't get to watch the whole thing, but
He like addressed it. He was like, and I was gonna say fucking, but I didn't want to poorly represent University of Indiana.
like he's the man. He's the man.
Yeah. My take on the game. I mean, I kind of mentioned it with like I remember. I think before the Michigan game, and I also mentioned it with like other teams throughout the year, like Georgia Tech. When you shorten the game and you give yourself less plays on offense, and on defense, like I guess like an analytic thing, Ohio State's EPA is higher than Indiana's play to play. So when you shorten games, you're taking out the expected points like gain from each play that your team would get. And when you shorten the games, the margins get razor thin, and then mistakes that could be small in games when you had a fast pace and fast tempo get really small. Example, the Sayin interception and the missed field goal. two of those things you could survive in a game where you did that first half pushing down the field, like push the pace. And in your second half, you did the whole like Ryan Day, like bully ball, assert dominance thing. And when you do stuff like that, like they did this happened last year when they played Michigan. Brian Day like wanted to like out physical Michigan and prove they're more physical. They had like a few turnovers, I believe, that gave up like explosives on offense, and then you lose a football game that way that you should. I don't think Ohio State should have lost this football game, but like when you played the style they tried to do in that second half, like controlling clock. I think they had like 20 minutes time possession in that half. Like when you have that, and you got 0 points from those drives, when you have that, you make the margin so small that makes a really talented team that's more talented than Indiana, like Ohio State, lose a football game off of two mistakes that you probably could survive if you just did your usual pushing down the field and stuff like that. And I give Indiana credit; they kind of forced Ohio State State's hand to do that. But when you just like let it happen and then like try and lean into that, that's when you can get beat when you shouldn't.
Especially the second half, because I thought in the first half they were super deliberate with getting Jeremiah Smith the ball and exploiting, like when they would go one high safety. He just ran by number 5, the DB, the 5'9" DB who was on Jeremiah Smith. Like, dude, that guy's a warrior, absolute warrior, was on Jeremiah Smith all day, like got beat a couple times, but for the most part, like, dude, he just played so hard. And he was tasked with a lot. Like they did play a lot of one high looks where he's in cover 3 off man, like he's off coverage. Jeremiah Smith gets a 12-yard head start running at him, and he just had to kind of hold up, which he did. We also talked about how the pressure rate, like Indiana has five guys with 3 guys with 5+ sacks on the year. That was huge in the game too, because they had some huge sacks, or at least just pressures to get the ball out of Sain's hand quicker than he wanted it to. Duska, I'm kind of intrigued what you had to say of this game, because I don't know if you checked out the doc, but I thought Indiana did some sneaky cool stuff on offense to run the ball. Some plays, like I don't know what you would call them, but yeah, no, I just thought it was kind of. I thought Indiana was like you said, Arch. The game was about the margins, and they were a little bit better on the margins, although their talent roster and their EPA is far worse than Ohio State's.
Yeah, I'll have to look at the doc for specific run schemes, but I think just overarching comment on the run game. I remember you asking me and Arch if you thought that Indiana would be able to run the ball, and if that would help, if that was viable and could help their offense generate a little more threat vertically. And I remember we both said no. And I think, well, first of all, they did a really good job running the ball all game. I thought they ran it very effectively when they needed to. And the point output and the production in terms of actually scoring wasn't really there, but I think that they did a good job coming up with conversions and picking up chunks when they needed to. And that ultimately led to the outcome we got. And I remember, I think this is just a pretty shocking result in general. I don't know if you guys agree,
Yeah.
but I expected I expected Indiana to play well, but I thought Ohio State would win pretty comfortably. And it's crazy because you keep waiting for Indiana to fall, and you keep waiting to see the moment where the luck runs out. But at this point it's not really luck. They're just a legit football team, and I know they beat Oregon this year and they've won. The Curt Cignetti's lost like 2 games in his time at Indiana overall, but it's still for me there was still a little doubt there, and it's pretty shocking that they were able to have an outcome like this. And
Did you expect like Indiana's defense to like look better than Ohio State's defense?
no, I didn't expect them to be able to generate pressure. I think the Ohio State O-line, it's not a world beater. It's not like there's like first round picks on it, but they're really good. And Indiana did a really good job generating pressure. That was the most uncomfortable Saints looked all season by far.
What
And I think
quarterback looked better? What quarterback looked better? I thought a decent margin. Mendoza.
Yeah, Mendoza, 100%. Yeah. And these were all just shocking things to me. And it's a little late to say it, but I'm finally in the camp where I'm firmly, for me, Indiana's a legit contender. I always figured like they're going to get into a game with an Ohio State or an SEC team, and you're going to see where that, like you guys have been saying, the EPA and the talent, the overall level of talent that they have, that catches up to them. But we might just be seriously underrating Curt Cignetti, the coordinators on that staff, the assistant coaches, and then just the cohesion that the team plays with and their ability to just come up with really big plays when it matters. And that starts at the quarterback spot. And Mendoza's just he's a baller and a gamer, and he's just gonna you at this point you kind of have to trust him to come up big in moments like that. And then another, I think this is just an interesting tidbit that I noticed. So the starting right tackle for Indiana in this game, his name's Zen Mahalski. He actually was a transfer from Ohio State. He's in our recruiting class, like 2021. He was on Ohio State for 4 years and then transferred over to Indiana. Started in this game for them. Struggled a little bit against Camden Curry. I think he
Early.
got
Yeah.
he actually got replaced in the second half by Khalil Benson, who transferred. He actually went to IU. He's a sixth-year. He transferred to Colorado last year after 4 years in Indiana, then came back to Indiana this year and has started a bunch of games for them. But I just thought it was interesting that Mahalski playing against his old school, and then they got the result. But Camden Curry kind of gave him some business in that game and played really well. But just overall impressed by Indiana is my overarching point, and pretty shocking result.
Yeah, I mean, you guys kind of hit most of it. I think, like you were just saying, I thought Camden Curry was insane. It kind of reminded me of Jack Sawyer in some of those big
Yeah.
Ohio State games last year. He was all over the place. Um, but yeah, you guys basically said everything. Another thing I wanted to say, I thought Mike Shanahan did a really good job for Indiana, moving Mendoza around in the pocket and letting his legs be one of the reasons that they were able to extend plays. So I thought that was really good by IU. Kind of unfortunate that the game was kind of decided on a 27, 29-yard missed field goal, whatever it was. Just sad for Ohio State. But I also think this could be a good thing for
I mean,
them.
Indiana missed a 30-yarder too, though. So
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. I forgot about that. But I wonder how much this fires Ohio State back up. And maybe there was a little bit of complacency with them for a little bit towards the end of the season. And even going into this game, that, kind of the narrative was, oh, Indiana's still, it's a 4 point spread, but oh, Ohio State's going to win comfortably. Like Indiana, no one really believed in Indiana. And I think Indiana kind of fed off that, and they've been feeding off that for kind of the last year and a half. So now I'm interested to see moving forward how Indiana does with the target on their back now as the number one team in the country, who's going to have to play either Oklahoma or Alabama, and then most likely Oregon or Texas Tech in the next round. So, I mean, with revenge on Oregon's mind if they were to get through. And on the Ohio State side, kind of similar to Oregon last year, like you lose that one tough game like Ohio State did. Oregon's coasting through the season. They get jumped. So we'll see. But just awesome for Indiana. Really happy for them, for their fans. Just a cool story of the weekend was just IU losing his program in college football history, getting the conference championship.
yeah, I mean, there's a play in the game where I just feel like it was just a mentality, just a cool mentality from Indiana. And we talked about earlier in the year how Indiana is ranked 18th in the Big Ten in talent composite, which is dead last. And we were talking about like how do they do this? Like why are their players look way better than what their ranking is? And I mean, they have obviously found a way to find talent at a premium where other people aren't finding it. And so a cool like one of the moments I thought it was like Ohio State, it's in the red zone, it's the Elijah Surratt touchdown. It's obvious man coverage. Like the all three defensive backs that are covering the trips that look are at different levels, so that they're trying not to get picked. And then it's a one high safety, so it's obviously, hey, we're playing man coverage. And then they press Surratt, and like Ohio State's telling you like we like our guys, like Igben Nosen, Styles, Caleb Downs, like we like our guys. And dude, and Indiana's just like, yeah, that's cool, yeah, we like our guys, and like we're just gonna roll about there, like we like our guys. So it's just cool to see like I don't understand how a team with this talent composite is just, well, I do understand it. Like they recruit and develop at a high level, and they know what they're looking for in their football players, and they want them to play within the exact same scheme that's been happening for the last 10 years, all around the country in different programs. But yeah, Dusky, you had something to say, it looked like, before I started talking, but
Oh, I can add on to that. This is a little insider testament from our strength coach at Elon. I was talking to him about Coach Cignetti the one time, and he was at Elon for a couple years, and he was just talking about the way he would speak to the team. It was basically just a delusional level of confidence in their ability to win. And it was a legit, like, you could feel that he truly believed that they could beat any team they played, like, almost to a delusional extent. Like, they're playing the best team in the country. It doesn't matter. They're gonna do their thing and they're gonna win the game. And when that feels real coming from the top, it's gonna permeate throughout the rest of the team. And that's where you get the situations where you believe in your guys, even though Ohio State, they have the higher rated guys. They have the best of the best on their defense. Like, you're still gonna have confidence in your guy because you have that delusional belief that you can win. And that's pretty, I mean, that just speaks a lot to that team, their team this year, which is a pretty special team. And then the guy at the top, who he's taking college football by storm, and he's the standard for bringing in a coach and turning a program around instantly, and has kind of altered the market in that way. And it's pretty cool to see over just a 2-year span.
I played for Frank Cignetti Jr. at IUP. He's the offensive coordinator, which is Curt
That is
Cignetti's
older. Is he his
little
older brother?
It's his little brother.
Little brother.
So it's his little brother. So they're boys. Like I was talking to him today about Indiana, and he was so excited. But he has the best quote I've ever heard on a football field in a walkthrough, like before a game. And like, dude, he looked us like before one of our games. He was like, "Lord have mercy on them, because we will not." And he just kept saying that, like, "Lord have mercy on them, because we will not." And like, dude, everybody's like so just locked in, like, holy shit. Like, so yeah, no, the Cignetti, I'd never played for Curt, but yeah, tons of respect for the Cignetti family coaching tree.
Hoosiers. I love that chant.
Yeah, so sick.
Fires me up.
Okay. Now that we talked about the super competitive Big Ten championship game, let's talk about the mostly uncompetitive SEC championship game. Arch, we always let you kind of go first with the Dogs. You have to answer a question for me. As a Georgia fan, how much do you get fired up about how you guys just have an insane competitive character? And like, there's just very few programs in the country that play the game as physical week in and week out, and with this mentality that the Bulldogs do week in and week out. And as a fan, like, how do you feel? Because, the execution may not always be there and the explosiveness may not always be there, but like, there is a prerequisite of intensity and physicality that just very few teams can match.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this year it's kind of, you've definitely seen it on display. Last year, competitive traits there was a lot to be desired there from last year's team. So it's like you were kind of spoiled for a few years with it, and it's nice to see it with such a young team where all these guys weren't around. None of these guys were around the last time Georgia won a national championship. And it's like they picked up the standard right where those guys left it in 2022. So it's awesome. You saw time to time, like, different games on the season. Tennessee comes to mind a lot, just like the competitive character of the team. And that was when we were really young. And I think this team is like one of the younger defenses, I believe, in the country, with like underclassmen playing. And the worst thing that college football did was not beat them when they were as young as they were, because I mean, the group is this defense, like, they're looking vintage Georgia to me. Like, they fly around and they hit.
They pressure the quarterback now.
Yeah, they're pressuring the quarterback. And even when we don't pressure the quarterback, our secondary is making phenomenal plays.
Dude, your linebackers fly.
Yeah, CJ Allen is such a ball player. Yeah, he's
KJ Bolden's really good too. Buford guy. Shout out.
Yeah,
Arches High School.
Shout out Bolden. It's definitely, like I said, it's good. And like I said, they're only getting better, which I think is the most exciting part in this era of college football, where some teams are complacent, some guys don't really want to be developed. Like, the 5 stars Georgia has are the guys that want to be developed, and they actually do get developed. And then you see them like show out. Like, I think good example is, you highlighted him in a play, Ellis Robinson, our corner number 1. Beginning of the season, most of the country saw him get torched versus Tennessee a few times. And then last week he had a ridiculous rep versus Ryan Williams, and he had a few other ridiculous hits as well when he's actually playing physical as like a run stuffing corner at times.
I was so impressed. My favorite position to watch is like defensive backs, and I was so impressed with what's it, Ellis Robinson. He's such a
Ellis
gamer.
Robinson.
Also, it is one of our buddies, our friend's younger brother, but like Dalen Everett is so awesome. Like watching his development, like he played as a freshman, he started as a freshman, as a sophomore, and now as a junior, and like, dude, he's unbelievable.
He's a senior.
Oh, okay. No, he started as a
Yeah,
sophomore, a
yeah,
junior, and now a senior. He's so unbelievable. Like he always makes huge picks in like the Texas games or the Bama games.
That's
like,
the biggest games.
Yeah, in the biggest
Yeah.
games, like Dalen Everett has forced fumbles or picks, and he plays corner, and he's a freak athlete. And Alabama was trying to do whatever they could to get Jeremy Menard not on him.
What do you guys think about? So, clearly, it's something has changed with Alabama. I think a lot of it starts with the rushing attack, and when you rush for negative yards in a game, you have no chance. But what are your thoughts on Alabama as we transition into the playoff? And do you think that a week off and the ability to scheme up against a team that they already played, do you think that they're just going to be there? It's just going to end like with kind of anticlimactic. They just get bounced by Oklahoma round one. Or do you think there's a chance that they find a little bit on offense and then you see that translate to the rest of the team and then they a little more sustained success than they've had
I kind of
and that they had early in the year?
I kind of have a take for you, Duska. I think Jam Miller is the most important player in college football, and not because he's the best player in college football. It's the drop off from him versus what Daniel Hill brings to the table. And like whenever a coach tells you something, believe it. So in the pregame on College Game Day, when like the sideline reporters are talking about how Alabama tried really hard this week to have more running back pass pro reps, and like that was really a huge emphasis. Like they were really worried about their running backs and pass protection. And what do you know, dude? Daniel Hill MA'd twice in just the highlights I could find. I watched the game live. In the highlights that are on film, he MA'd twice, like completely MA'd. And then other times, like he couple good reps, but like very few good reps in pass protection. And they don't run the ball. So like if you have a running back in the game, you need your running back to be a sixth offensive lineman in the pass protection. Or at the very least, go to the right guy. If there's 5-on-5 and there's a sixth guy coming, you gotta pray that your running back is gonna at least hit him in some capacity. I think Josh Cuevas, they really miss him too, because he's another guy. Their other Bama tight ends are primarily pass catchers. And so like, dude, Jam Miller might be the most important player in college football because they just do not have an answer at running back besides him. And so I really hope he gets healthy because I think their season kind of depends on it because that team is way different when Jam Miller's in the football game. In pass pro, I can't believe we're talking about pass pro, which is dude, I mean, it's football. Like,
Pass pro matters.
Pass pro matters. Like, and it's not the lineman, it's the running back. And now the lineman is not playing as good a football right now, but how much of that is to do with literally there's free rushers?
Protection's usually, yeah. As far as pass pro is concerned, their O-line is they're not bad.
No,
and they get a lot of reps.
Yes, yes. So again, that's just one thing is in pass protection, like they just really struggle. And Daniel Hill had a couple drops. He's not very elusive when he gets the ball in his hands. Like I wondered how many like forced missed tackles does he have all year? Like, I mean, Jam Miller has what seems like five a game, right? So maybe more. So
seems like there's a good chance Jam Miller plays against Oklahoma, based off what I'm just reading initially.
Completely different offense with him.
And if there's one game where you probably only need to score like
20,
2-3 touchdowns, yeah, it would be against Oklahoma. So
what do you guys think about the Alabama defense? I was kind of impressed. I mean, they were in short fields all day.
And 2 Georgia scores were directly set up off of one was a block punt and then one was a pick where Dalen ran it back to at least it was at least into Georgia or Alabama territory.
Yeah. Well,
so that's 2 scores.
They
right
got
there.
A penalty and it was technically in the 40.
Okay. But it's like midfield. Yeah.
Midfield, exactly.
Yeah. It's two drives set up by really good field position.
Shout out Cole Spear. Cole Spear on the podcast. Number 83. Special teams matters. Also, on that, just to get really nerdy. Did you see what Georgia did on that play? Dude, they usually you go like 1 for 1. If there's a guy split out, like you're gonna have a guy covering him. They had one player covering 2 Alabama receivers. So Alabama had 2 guys to the left split out from the formation and then one guy to the right. And they only had 2 guys covering 3, which gave them like a +1 in the box to block the punt. And then the Bama protection slid the opposite, like the wrong way. Like they called it wrong. And like Spear was like pretty much unblocked. The long snapper had to like try to get in the way. That's an impossible block. The long snapper to like retrace 10 yards back up the field. Like he's never making that block.
What other college football podcasts are you getting PBR breakdowns like that on?
Yeah, but
Not a single other one.
But dude, if you guys, I just promise you, like it's so important, special teams in football, like the juice of it, because like, bro, when Kirby scores a touchdown, like when Georgia scores a touchdown or gets a turnover, like it's like and he's still talking on the headset. Dude, his headset is removed. He's fist pumping any coach he can get his hands on when they block the punt. Like, you spend way too much time during the week on special teams, and like when something like that actually happens, like to see Kirby go crazy like that, like that's just the mark of a great football program.
Speaking of Kirby, I think his signature move is literally like put the headset back on. Like he does that, like he has to do that at least like he might do it every play. Every time he's on TV, he's putting the headset back on. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone saw this, but in Kirby's post-game presser, he talked about Cole Spear, and it was pretty
really.
He said he was like getting emotional.
He was about to start tearing up because he's like a senior and he's just been a 3-star like scholarship, just everyday grinder. And he said that's what they're going to take from college football. And then he took a shot at Kansas State and Iowa State for opting out of their bowl game. I mean, every single post-game presser, Kirby's just speaking.
I mean, Kirby's literally never wrong. So.
Yeah, never.
I don't think I've ever disagreed with anything he said, to be honest.
Yep.
I felt like this game was just the floodgates opening for Bama. This felt like this was been waiting to happen ever since that bye week after their big run, and then they took South Carolina to the wire, and then it just went all the way down till they lost to Oklahoma, but they still played like relatively well in that game. And this just felt like everything that went wrong, and this was just building for Bama. I would hope that in this, what is it, 2 weeks off? It's 2 weeks off, right? For them, it's a day less, whatever. They get healthy, and like you said, Charlie, Jam Miller and Cuevas being back would be big. And I just think that Pate talked about this after the LSU game, how they just haven't been able to hit these explosive plays. And without that, I have a really hard time seeing this offense get going against even better defense in Oklahoma. But if they are able to get healthy, and maybe this reignites the fire under Bama, because they look pretty flat. Ty Simpson looked off. You would hope that this reignites the fire, or they have another flat performance and it's over, and then the panic meter in Tuscaloosa is really on.
Yeah, I was just going to say something about Bama's offense. I watched a cut up of it because Ty Simpson just seems like he's just off right now, obviously. Stats have been going down. But I was looking at, I think someone did a breakdown, and it's more of his timing, which can be corrected. He's just late on things right now, so he's not seeing the field as well. He was late on that throw that Dalen ended up picking off. So I think it's just little things, but little things compound to huge things, especially at quarterback when you are the offense. So I think it's definitely fixable. But like you said, Sam, I think a game like this is just waiting to happen for them. And if you don't have the right mindset coming out of this can be your season in next week. So it'll just be how they respond and how DeBoer gets the troops fired up, because their last month of football has been very uninspiring. So
you're muted.
Also, one just football point, when I used to watch the Steelers back in the day, back when we had a pulse. Anytime the first play of our game was Antonio Brown, little quick screen, get the ball out to him, he'd go for 6 or 7. I just knew oh wow, we're going. I have faith in this squad. Dude, first play Georgia runs, Zachariah Branch, 15-yard, 16-yard scamper off a screen. I love when I see that. Get the ball in your best player's hands early, often. Zachariah Branch had a touchdown later in the game on another screen pass, but just a footballism thing that I just get fired up when I see you just get your best player involved early.
One of the twitchier cuts I've ever seen by Branch on that touchdown
was pretty insane.
His
burst is elite.
Insane. Yeah, unreal. Just change the complete direction you're going. Complete different body angle, and then like you just bounce off the ground and like fly into the end zone.
Not sure if y'all saw this, but they like Cash Jones, the running back, faked a screen route and jumped up and like put his hands up so then the corner and went to go to him, and then like so by the time Branch caught it, the corner like had a horrible angle to go back. And also I don't think he would have caught him anyway because Branch like
flies.
NFL speed on a college football field.
NFL body contact as well. Like, dude, his contact balance is amazing too. Like, you don't just like arm tackle him. Like, dude, you have to wrap that dude up.
I still have faith. I think Bama could.
Dude, if Jan Miller and Cuevas are playing in their next football game, that's not the same football team.
It goes against my Oklahoma take, but
also, are they going to get that edge rusher back?
Overton?
Yeah.
I think he's in a similar situation as Cuevas and Miller. Like it's like day to day or questionable.
Well, if those three are playing, like, dude, that's a lot different.
Yeah, that's probably 3 of your 10 best players.
Yep.
So
huge difference.
It's definitely 3 of your 10 best players.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Next game. Let's go to Texas Tech, BYU. We said last week that it feels like Texas Tech is going to take that Michigan Ohio State script and just bring it to this game, which is pretty much exactly what happened. I don't think, just overarching on Texas Tech, their defense is unreal. I think they're one of the best 4 defenses in the country. They are so physical. I mean, BYU wanted nothing to do with like running after the catch. Like, oh my gosh, they are physical. Couple guys that just really stood out of the TV. Ben Roberts, number 13, who had 2 picks. He's the other guy besides Jacob Rodriguez. So just dynamic linebacker play. Cole Wisniewski, number 5, the safety, white kid, NDSU transfer. So North Dakota State guy, just winner, just tackled in space well. Just 2 guys on the offense. I just thought like a defense that were just eye popping, but I think their defense is absolutely elite, among the best in the country. I'd probably go like Oak in no particular order, like Ohio State, Indiana, Texas Tech, and Oklahoma, like in no particular order, 4 best defenses I've watched this year. But their offense does leave a lot to be desired, which makes me worried when they're not playing BYU. Because BYU's defense, I thought, played well. Like, I thought they did their job, and they did what they could with the lesser talent, and they tackled well in space. But I just think Baron Morton, like, just kind of limits them. I do like that they have 2 running backs, though, that are very good.
Yeah, I remember after Hammond tore his ACL, I believe it was versus Arizona State, I did say that because I thought he was better than
I agree.
Morton. And like you said, the quarterback play in this game was just not great, which made it just like also like this like a bad football game to watch because it was just like domination almost. But yeah, I think you said like Texas Tech will only go as far as Morton takes them. I don't think he's going to be able to take them very far, but their D line can. I think their front 6 and 7 is legit.
But I was saying like
top 3, 4.
The key ingredients to like winning playoff football games is running the ball, stopping the run, and then being up for any level of physicality thrown their way, which I do think like physicality, stopping the run, and then running the football, they can do all 3 of those, which makes them viable. A certain game script, no doubt, but I think they're viable to beat any team in the country.
I agree. They might just get caught up in a situation, even like in Oregon, where it's going to be a defensive slugfest because they're not going to be able to produce on offense. And in a game like that, where there's not really an edge defensively, but there's a big difference offensively, I think they might just get caught up in a game like that. And then Oregon's going to hit a couple explosives and just like find a way to squeak past them. But then again, their defense could just shut any team they play down. So that could be a null and void statement.
I think their offense is going to hold them back against a team like Oregon. They're going to play Oregon against Oregon. I think that they lack explosivity on offense, and that's going to be like, what if Oregon goes up 14-0 quick? Like, I just don't see a world that they come back from that.
Well, here's the only thing. The one part that was pretty explosive about them is I do like the Coy Eakin fades, and then the Virgil, the Miami of Ohio transfer, number 1. I do like them. So I don't think their offense is cooked. I just don't like Dante Moore's so much better than Baron Morton. So it's hard for
There's gonna be significant quarterback disadvantages.
I don't
some
know if
games.
it's like the explosivity as much it is like the routine decision making that comes along with being the quarterback. Like, can we get the ball to the hitch route without with
with accuracy.
With accuracy and then like, do we get the ball to the flat when we run like a tight end concept? Like, can we throw a 15-yard in or out, which he did a few times? Listen, I'm probably exaggerating. I don't think Morton's that bad. He doesn't have the other qualities that some of the other quarterbacks still playing in college football have. Like Dante Moore, no. Mendoza, no. Sayin, no. Simpson, no. Mateer, Chambliss, no. Mateer, willing to hear arguments.
Retzlaff?
No. I mean, Retzlaff's a running back, but Alonzo Barnett, yes, definitely. Although I mess with the Grimsley kid. What other team I'm missing in the playoff, Tuska?
Did you say Reed?
Oh, Marcel Reed, no. So, dude, you have bottom tier quarterback play in this playoff. That's just the only thing that is holding them back. I do think, like, obviously, dude, they made some plays all day on offense, but
there's some comparable defensive front sevens, which is the strong point of their team.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at those teams' quarterback play, and you're just like, oh well, yeah, this is going to be an uphill battle for the Red Raiders.
UFL tryout, first round pick.
Yeah. Is Gunner a draft pick next year? I'd say yeah.
Dude, yes. Draft him.
Stetson got drafted.
Dude,
was Stetson undrafted?
Stetson was drafted. Stetson's college career was also drastically different than Stockton so far. True.
Okay, what
they're comparable in the sense that they're
white. They're from rural Georgia.
Well, dude, Sean Clifford,
and they're the head coach. They're the quarterback 1 for the Bulldogs.
Yeah,
that's why I'll compare them.
Sean Clifford got drafted. Is that his name? Sean Clifford, right?
Penn State guy.
Yeah.
He got drafted.
He was the Packers' backup for a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Gunner Stockton, I think, is better than Clifford.
Is Baron Morton getting drafted? No.
I mean, no. He'll probably go back to that hunting land he bought in the offseason and leased out. Land manager or something.
Business moves.
Yeah.
Good on him. Okay. Let's do some quick stuff. All right, UVA Duke. We're going to take it here for a second. Shout out Jeremiah Hazley. I said get Hazley the rock. Hazley got the rock. The first touchdown of the game and the game-winning touchdown. Jeremiah Hazley. I'm not going to take any credit for it. I'm not asking for any credit, but I did text him before the game, telling him to DYJ, do his job, and play with relentless physicality, and could have something to do with it. Could not have something to do with it. Could have just been that Darius Mensah can sling that rock. And
Darian.
I do that every time. It could be that Darian Mensah just slings that rock. And, I mean, shout out Duke. Like, dude, did you deserve to be here? Probably not. Were you here? Yeah. This is like the competitive character thing. Like, that's why Duke fires me up. Like, dude, they're a 5-loss team. They have no shot at the playoff. But, dude, we care about winning the ACC because it's another football game and it means something to us. And we go out, we play our ass off. And do you see how excited they were winning that? That wasn't like a nothing.
That's what I was about to say, dude.
Dude,
actually hang the banner.
Literally ACC champs 2025.
Literally hang the banner.
Nobody can take that away from them ever.
Also, let the record show.
They'll get a ring.
Elon football scored 17 points against Duke. UVA, they could only muster 20. And it was against a healthier defense.
Sad.
Needed a little more out of the Hoos.
Well, I just think that the guard play from Elon was significantly better than what UVA got that day.
You could probably, yeah.
Right?
No comment, but
yeah.
Not going to disagree with you.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Hang the banner.
I got nothing. Okay. Awesome. Good one for Duke.
Yeah. Okay.
Next one. Chandler Morris.
And it turns out Manny Diaz was not the surprise hire that we were expecting.
No, you're right. He was not. All right, next game. Well, I just want to do this really quickly. Shout out my old position coach, Kyle Perkins, who was the receiver coach at Western Michigan. Western Michigan just throttled Miami of Ohio. Miami of Ohio, their starting quarterback. I don't know if Arch, if you know anything more about that situation, but like he like opted out or something, or
Yeah, no,
I-
he left the team.
Third.
to like just
No, he's going to the draft, man. He's gonna go number 1. I saw a mock from
wait.
Mel Kiper earlier.
Are you dead ass serious that he
No.
opted out to go to the draft
He opted out to go
and
to the
didn't
draft.
play
Yeah.
in the conference championship game?
He opted out like 3 weeks ago, though. But yeah, he's a very sad individual.
Dude, if I was a player on that team, like it would be hard for me to like be friends with that kid ever again.
Your character as a man needs to be severely questioned.
I mean, he
You're
also
the Miami of
he was
Ohio
also on his
quarterback.
third school, so like not like he was.
Whoa,
Also,
are you allowed
shout
to do that?
out, yeah, I guess Devontae Chandler, old Elon linebacker, is on
Devontae.
Western Michigan strength staff.
Okay, Devontae
Shout out.
Chandler,
Some
Kyle
Elon
Perkins.
Some Elon blood
getting it
in the
done in
championship
FBS.
program in the MAC.
Yep, I love it. Okay, next game. Well, also I want to say my favorite watch of the week. Anyone want to guess?
I already know what it is.
What is it?
I saw you text
Kennesaw
it.
versus Jacksonville State.
Kennesaw versus Jacksonville State.
This game was
Loved this
awesome.
watch. Love this watch. Their quarterback Odom, forgetting what's his first name? Arch. This seems like something you would know.
Jared, I think. No, I don't know if that's right. but
Just look up
we'll go.
Odom, Kennesaw State quarterback, because I remember me and Backy last year were watching film of whatever, maybe it was ETSU, some team that played Wofford.
Amari.
And Amari Odom was nuts for Wofford. He was so good.
Oh, that's the Wofford QB?
Dude, yes.
Oh, I remember that guy.
Bro,
yeah.
he was such a bucket at Wofford. Like, dude, made so many plays. So it was good to see him just play. That was pretty cool.
All player.
Yeah. The fourth and 14 scramble to his left, like, dude, so electric. Then they get to the hit out of bounds, personal foul. Also, shout out Bo Nick's brother on Jacksonville State. Number 1, he was good. Good football player. So that's all I got for that game. An awesome, intriguing watch. Nuts on the table. Kennesaw State's coach could have kicked a 53-yarder to win the game. But it 53 yards in FCS. I mean, not FCS, in Group of 5 ball. So I don't know what the percentage is there, but he decided to go for it. 4th and 14. Dude, literally, you know that South Park image where it's like the guy holding his balls in a wheelbarrow as he like. That was literally that Kennesaw State coach. Okay. Duska. Was that your mother?
Yeah, almost got a surprise appearance.
Stop, Mrs. Duska. Miss you. Okay. Tulane, North Texas. Any thoughts on this game? Duska, do you want to take your victory lap here?
Yeah, I'll be quick about it. In my prediction of this game, I said that the alias that Arch gave Drew Stephen Maker. I predicted that would come to fruition, and he did end up throwing 3 interceptions, I believe. So, not going to pat myself on the back too hard, but was seeing it the whole time. Good win for Tulane as well. They're now in the college football playoff, so we'll see how that goes for them.
North Texas kind of got jobbed by the refs, but I was impressed with Tulane because last year, and this is after Summerall's already taken a job elsewhere, like he's not where his feet are currently at Tulane. And last year, the same kind of thing happened when he was in rumor mills at UNC and other jobs, and they went up to Army for the American Championship and dropped a goose egg and got dominated. So I thought that kind of same thing was going to happen this year, but it seems like his players are still bought in and his coaching staff is still bought in. So it was cool to see.
Those guys on defense were playing for that Florida scholarship.
Yeah.
But I thought that their defense was amazing. I also think that the way that the beginning of the game went and they were winning, and then it started raining, I think that helped a lot.
Mute.
I thought the
Jalen
Wednesday
Hurts
play
just threw the
was
worst Steven of all time.
holy shit.
But then the D tackle fumbled it, and he almost picked the ball up, and then he fumbled it again.
Oh my gosh.
Who?
Dude, Jalen Hurts threw the worst pick of all time. The
And
D
then-
lineman that caught it fumbled it. Hurts picked it up, and then he fumbled the ball
And then
again.
Hurts recovered the ball and then got stripped again.
Oh my gosh, that's insane.
Average Hurts moment.
Sorry, I'm sorry for interrupting. That was all horrendous interception.
Keep
Well, I
going.
mean, I thought Tulane's crowd was awesome, which was great.
Yeah.
Shout out
The
to them.
beads.
Summerall's pregame press conference was funny when he was like trying to work with the president of the university to cancel classes so everyone would just get hammered and come to the game. Did you guys see
Football
that?
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yo, I had one comment about this game. Freshman running back Caleb Hawkins, who has over 1,200 yards, got hurt in the first quarter. And you could, we said on the pod last week, like, although it is the air raid and Messinmaker is like getting all the credit, the actual engine to this offense is this running back. And once he got out, the engine went from a V8 to about a V4. So that's going from like a like a nice Tahoe to a Nissan Rogue in terms of engine quality. So
Guy's gonna make things happen as a Cowboy next
yes,
year.
he will. He will. JMU pass rushers. Anybody want to talk about the playoff football team, the James Madison Dukes? Thought their pass rushers looked good. Thought their offense was fine. It's gonna
I
happen.
thought it was hilarious when they were pelting the punter with snow.
Oh, that was great, Sam.
It's like a little bit fucked up though, but
Why?
it was funny.
Don't get backed up like that. They took a terrible sack to be backed up like that.
It wasn't the punter's fault.
Yeah, like the punter, like, dude, he didn't even get it, whatever. Take the ball. Snowing.
That was really funny. And
make
they
it-
had to go on multiple times.
That game was so uninteresting that I'm glad like that was a little intrigued.
Boy was a live dog for a few minutes there.
Yeah, they were.
Their chance of covering in their game, James Madison or Tulane.
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 Dude, JMU, like, dude, how are they going to
They had the
offense?
123rd best schedule in college football this year.
Dude, they're gonna see a guy run in a straight line and they're gonna be confused. Like, I don't understand.
Dude, their offensive line like didn't look that great against Troy. Like, dude.
Mark Gronowski, sorry, random question. Mark Gronowski or Alonzo Barnett?
Gronowski.
Gronowski.
Because Gronowski had struggled against Oregon's defense at times. Played good though. Like, is that
Gronowski, he can make things happen though. I don't know. I'm
Alonzo
not
Barnett,
seeing
as
the
much as
same.
I like the Grimsley, Caleb Curtin thing, like, I don't know. I wasn't seeing it.
Just for reference for viewers, JMU is 21-point dogs and Tulane is, I believe, 17
and a half.
17 and a half?
Yeah.
So pick your poison.
All right, let's move on to something a little slightly more interesting here. Okay. We're out of the conference championship for good. Moving on. Penn State. Actually, editor, here's your endpoint. Matt Campbell was just hired as the new Penn State head coach after one of the more ridiculous coaching searches you will ever witness. I wonder if the over-under was 30 and a half coaching candidates, do you think they eclipse that number? Maybe. And it was looking like they wanted Shigs, Matt Rule. Start naming guys off for me, guys. Kalani Sitake, DeBoer got thrown around.
Elko,
Any Jimmy,
Freeman,
any
Brian
Jimmy,
Hartline.
Freeman,
any Jimmy,
Lane Kiffin.
any Jimmy Sexton, client was pretty much named in this search. But I do
Brent
think,
Pry.
yeah, I do think they walked ass backwards into an awesome coaching hire. This is a guy that has taken Iowa State, who is, if Indiana's the worst, they got to be up there for the second or third worst college football program in the history of college football. In the Power Four, that is. So what he's done at Iowa State, the amount of NFL guys they have, Brock Purdy, Breece Hall, I'm missing some, but I mean Jalen Noel and Jalen Hyatt this year from the draft. Tyrese Halliburton. Kidding, that's basketball.
Who's that guy? Higgins. He's on who's he play for?
Oh, I meant to say Jaden Higgins, not Hyatt.
Yeah.
Hyatt is the
Yeah.
Texans receiver.
yeah.
Yeah, Texans. Yeah.
It's Higgins and Jalen Noel. It's a Higgins and Noel from last year. Dude, so they've just done a really good job. McDonald, he was an edge a couple of years ago
Will
on the
McDonald.
Jets. Yeah. So, dude, this is a program that he's done well with. They've been to Big 12 championships. They won a lot of football games in his tenure. They have a lot of NFL talent. So I think Penn State should be really excited about the head football coach that they got. My question is, I think one good point is that they might like his game management better than James Franklin. I think he has an edge in that category, game management wise. The edge I do not think he possesses, and I guess we'll see because we've never seen him with a program as well resourced. Is he going to recruit the way James Franklin recruited? So that'll kind of be the test of time. And I don't want to do the thing where all we do is compare Matt Campbell to James Franklin. I don't think that's fair to him for like the first 3 years, but I do think at some point that should be brought back up once Matt Campbell's given like enough of a timetable. So if he loses a bad game next year, like it shouldn't be like, oh, like what would James Franklin be doing? I do think we got to let it breathe a little bit, let Matt Campbell make this program Matt Campbell's program, and then in like 3 to 5 years, then we can revisit the conversation of like, was this the right move? Because it's just too short-sighted right now.
Yeah, my quick point is I think Penn State with Matt Campbell, they're going to punch up instead of like punching down like they used to. But I don't know if they will be able to, like, I think they're going to play above their talent level. James Franklin era, they often played like below or like underperformed. I just don't see in the first year or two, especially with how decimated their high school recruiting class was this year. I don't see a way that they punch up with like the big boys like in these 2 years. I think it's safe, like you said, you're gonna have to wait.
I'm kind of seeing a similar trajectory to Michigan post Harbaugh leaving, post Natty, the last 2 years, where you can see that they just have a lot of young players, young talent that's been building since last year. And then this upcoming year in 26 is when you're gonna they're hoping that that all comes to fruition and they're in the Big Ten picture competing for a national championship. I think that Matt Campbell should be given the grace period of at least 3 years just based on how decimated. They signed 2 guys this week on National Signing Day. That's for Penn State, that's catastrophic. They were at the FCS levels of recruiting rankings. And I think it's now an uphill climb just to get back to the baseline that they previously enjoyed. And that's going to make you question down the line if it was worth firing James Franklin over that. But I think Matt Campbell should be given the benefit of the doubt and some time to build the infrastructure and utilize the resources that he's going to be able to experience at Penn State that he wasn't at Iowa State and let his system come into place. And I hope he's given that grace period, but in an era
Knowing
where
Penn State fans,
yeah, and in an era
exist.
where you see Curt Cignetti come into the Big Ten and win 11 games his first year, make the college football playoff, and then the next year they win the Big Ten, they're 13-0. I don't know if he's going to be granted that grace period, and I think the expectations are going to be that he brings in a bunch of transfers and that they're able to win right away and they win 10 games next year. So I think if Penn State fans carry that expectation into this hire, it's not going to look good, and they might turn on him quickly. But if they see what he's done before and what he's been able to do with a historically bad program in Iowa State and build them up that way, I think that in a few years they might be in a good place. And I don't know if it'll necessarily be a better place than they were under James Franklin, but they'll still be a competitive football team and in good shape. And like Art said, maybe able to punch up a little bit better than they have been able to previously. So I like the hire. Just I think if it was looking real bad for a real long time. So ending up with Matt Campbell,
Terry Smith bad was
they were looking down the barrel of Terry Smith as their head football coach. So I think ending up with Matt Campbell, that's nice consolation for the position you've been in the last 3 months and how botched this hiring process has been.
Yeah, I think that if I'm a Penn State fan, I'm pretty, like, I would say relieved would be the feeling that I would feel after, like we all just said, you whiffed on basically everyone that you interviewed and you kind of fell into this, what I think is a very good B+ to A-, like great hire for Penn State. And kind of like what you said, Duska, I think we were just talking about this earlier with Indiana and the quick turnaround. I think to the unfortunate the unfortunate side of that is he has now created a insanely unrealistic expectation for how first year coaches at above average programs should operate. And I also think with the overall delusion and unsettledness of the Penn State fan base and likely the boosters that they need, like you guys just said, they need to give him time to get his team, get his system, because I don't see a world that Penn State's this really flashy transfer portal location for big offensive players. And I think that like they have to give him 2 years and they can't get unruly after 2 years because I think it's going to be 8-4 and 9-3 until like you're going to have a couple of seasons like that until you're able to get back to where you think you can be. Um, and that being said, I just think that like if you're Penn State and now the season's over and you take a step back, like was it worth the firing of Franklin now that you have no recruiting class? And yeah, I think
You're
that
basically losing a year.
right, at least a year.
Like, was it too
Yeah.
far of a step back for maybe the marginal gain step forward, if so? Because the only way this is like the move is looked back at as the right move is if he wins a national championship. And then everything will be forgiven. But if it's the same, if it ends up being like they just get to the exact same spot, was the step back worth it? But Sam,
Which is just
that was really good, Sam.
like I just think it's an insane expectation.
Yeah,
Like
100%.
when you hire someone with obviously you want to say, yes, we have a national championship expectation. But deep down in the back of everyone's mind knows that Campbell has probably 3 years max. And if he's not sitting at 10-2 after year three, then there's going to be another conversation. And is that a fair way to start a new coaching, a new program, a new trajectory of your program at Penn State? I don't know. And when you look at Penn State, like you're not the cream of the crop in the Big Ten. You have not been the cream of the crop in the Big Ten since whenever.
90s.
So yeah, and that like I just don't think that I think they made a very emotional hire, and the rationale was, oh, well, we kept losing to Ohio State.
No,
Well, you
no.
made the national
Emotional fire.
fire. That's what I meant.
Yeah,
Sorry. Well, you kept with the reasoning of, oh, we kept losing the big games, but you were one throw away. You were a bounce or two away from making the national championship. You're Nick Singleton making that catch on the goal line away from making the national championship. So I think that yes, it was a great hire, but I think when you look in the rearview mirror, I think in around Halloween next year, Penn State might be sitting and saying, "Wow, was this worth it?" When Virginia Tech's 7-1 in the ACC, and there's just been a lot of uncertainty. I think you wonder, was this worth it?
Oh my gosh.
I have two.
Sorry.
You got it.
Okay. Another horrendous pick by Jalen Hurts. But I think another just to add to the pressure that I think Matt Campbell's going to be under, the fact that Virginia Tech is going to be pretty good. Like they signed a top 25 recruiting class. I haven't looked, but I'd be interested to see how many ACC teams are in the top 25 there.
Maybe 3.
And it's a schedule where you bring a top 25 recruit, you stack those recruiting classes and even maybe do a little bit better next year. It's a type of schedule where Virginia Tech's going to be good. They're going to get a good quarterback in there. They're going to have the talent composite. They're going to be at the higher echelons of the ACC. They're going to win a lot of games. So you're going to see that pressure from Penn State fans too. Like, why did we fire James Franklin? Virginia Tech is 8-1 and going. They're looking like they're going to be in the playoffs. They're looking like they're going to win the ACC. And it's going to be Matt Campbell, who Penn State signed 2 players, and they're building, but they're not really in the similar position to Virginia Tech, and that's just going to add to the pressure that's like being falsely placed on this position and the expectations from fans.
I also think Duska on the Virginia Tech topic, like if they continually pump out top 25 or even top 30 recruiting classes and get a couple transfers in, like with that talent composite alone, you should be going 8-4 in the ACC. And when Virginia Tech is a school where you bring recruits in, like they have really passionate fans. Like you're gonna get guys in there like, oh shit, like yeah, I can come here and I can win. versus going to like one of these middling, even like a South Carolina, who like, yeah, you can go there. It's an awesome school, but like you're probably gonna go 7-5, and it's gonna be really difficult to make the playoff. Versus VT is gonna have a path every single year with the amount of talent on that team, and so yeah,
Yeah, the VT comparison is going to be there. So I think two things. One, like real thing. Next, I just have a take, but we're going to see very early in the Campbell era. I'm not really concerned about their record their first 2 years. That's like not what I'm concerned about. I'm really concerned about like their recruiting rankings. Like, are they going to be top 20? You cannot be a national championship contender without being top 20 unless you're Indiana. That's the only team that we've ever like seen do that. So, I just that's the gem. Like, can you recruit the way Franklin is able to recruit? Because if you can't, it's going to be really hard to beat Ohio State and Oregon and USC, in Michigan year in and year out, right? Or even Washington. Like Washington's going to sit right around 35 to 27-ish, right? So, are you going to?
It's also. Sorry, go ahead.
No,
Finish.
I'm
I was
good.
going to say, this also isn't the Big Ten conference that James Franklin was coaching in for 10 years.
Mhm.
This is a conference with USC, with Washington, UCLA. They just hired Bob Chesney. Like they'll probably resurge a little bit. It's a conference where a lot of the top talent in the country is now being concentrated and filtered into the Big Ten and the SEC. And there's more teams, and it's just going to be a better league overall. It's not going to be like the super cupcake schedules that we've seen teams like Penn State and Indiana last year, the schedule they played. It's not going to be like that anymore. It's going to be a tough schedule where 10 games is going to be, it should certainly be the goal and the benchmark for a program, but
That's hard.
it's not going to be easy. It's
Because
not going to be as easy as it has been.
And being perennially 8-4, 9-3, like is being the Washington of the East good enough? No, in Penn State's size.
That's
So,
not what they fired James Franklin
no,
for.
that's not what they fired. Okay, here's a take I got. I think next year Michigan State goes 7-5. Does the I'm just questioning, does Patty Fitzgerald have a more successful year one than Matt Campbell? We'll see.
I think Penn State might retain more talent than we expect.
I agree. I think
Yeah.
I'm kind of. Can somebody talk me off the ledge of being high on the Patty Fitzgerald to Michigan State? Because I kind of like it.
I mean, it's
Look at
another
his last
coach
year
where
as a coach.
it's another but it's another coach that was not, the resources you received at Northwestern do not compare to that of Michigan State. So it's another coach where you'll get to see him work with a little bit more to work with.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited for that one.
I'm excited to see what he's able to do there.
Yeah, intrigued by
interesting.
the Michigan State job.
I just think it was I mean, he was bad his last year, and then their coach now, Braun, like they got him bowl eligible.
They were solid this year, yeah.
Very solid.
Yeah. So,
but he was
I don't
fired
know.
in 2022, so that was a.
Yeah,
that
but in
was
23
pre-season
had him
ago.
bowl eligible. Like the year after he had him bowl
I get what you're
eligible.
saying. They looked pretty good this year, actually. So
Yeah.
impressed with that.
You could also say they've been continuously improving as well.
Yeah. Okay. Last part of the show. This is the part we are going to talk about my favorite football game in the world. This is the football game where in some East Coast city, the best is Philadelphia, but Philadelphia, Boston, Baltimore, Landover, Maryland, New York, or New Jersey. This game is played, and it's West Point versus the Naval Academy, otherwise known as Army Navy. And they've been playing this game for forever. And this year is the 250th anniversary of the birth of our country, which also was the birth of the first Continental Army and Navy. Just pretty cool history going into this, as every single kid on that field is going to serve in either the Army or the Navy. And this is a football game that like is really cool for my family. My dad and my uncle played it at Navy. This is gonna be my 5th straight Army Navy game. It's an absolute holiday. Before we like talk about the game, you guys have all been to this game. What has it been like as an experience as a college football fan, and then also kind of getting immersed into like the Army Navy culture?
Dude, it's awesome. I'm someone that comes from a background of I haven't experienced as many big time college football games. I grew up in Philly, so we don't really have a huge program. I've been to a million Temple games, but I've never been to the biggest stages, and I've never been to a Penn State game. I've never been to an SEC game. I just haven't experienced college football to the level that some of you guys have. And going to this game, I know it's not exactly the same. It's a neutral field game with service academies, and it's not quite like going to Sanford Stadium for a night game, but you can just feel it's different because you can feel the like how much the players on each team wants to win, like how much you can feel how much the game means to them. And it's cool because it's not like they're playing for like a championship, or it's not like they're in the college football playoff. It's just a football game between Army and Navy, and like you can feel it in the atmosphere just how important it is. And you don't have to have any stakes outside of that. You can
And,
just play
and the
this football game, and
alumni.
it's gonna mean everything for the current players, and it's gonna mean everything for the alumni. And it's just so cool to be there. And then there's so much pageantry too. Like you get the flyover, you get the national anthem, you get the paratroopers coming in, and it's for me it's the pinnacle because I haven't experienced anything better than it in a college football sense. And even as hopefully later in my life I move on and do get to see some pretty cool stuff and experience some cool college football atmospheres, I think it's going to be hard to top this game, and the experience you have and everything surrounding the game as well. It's just awesome. And I'm so excited for this year.
Yeah, I had so much fun last year. Obviously, never been. It was a huge bucket list for me. I mean, the game itself was amazing, other than the stadium. But I mean, the tailgate was fun, and
Horrific stadium.
I
FedEx
love going to
Field's
games
sad.
where there's like a big rivalry, but there's camaraderie amongst the fans. Like I just it shows just the love of the game versus the hatred of the other team, which what I really liked at that. It's an unbelievable experience that everyone needs to try to go to at least once. Just so like you just said, Duska, the pageantry, it felt like surreal. It was so cool.
Yeah, bucket list item. I'm saddened that I'm not going to make it this year, but I went in 2022 when Navy sadly lost in, I believe, double overtime or overtime, which was just an awesome game. And then last year, in Landover, Maryland, another awesome game, and that one the Naval Academy sneakily got Army after they just won the American. Yeah, I mean the pageantry, the festivities, the tradition, it's everything that makes you love college football. I think the public and people that cover college football and want to talk about it when media with media should be required to go to this game to see what like college football is like really about and not about the insight. This is what college football is about, and it's just an awesome experience.
Yeah, like what you guys are talking about, like it means so much for the alumni. This is a game where my dad and all like my dad might not see like his friends from San Diego. Like maybe he sees them once a year, maybe not in a year. But like this is like their gathering place where like they can see all their buddies. Like it's amazing. The Army people are awesome. Like you meet at these tailgates, like it's a Navy and an Army tailgate a lot of the times where everybody's together, like sharing the moment, and like the game matters, and like when the game is being played, obviously you're rooting for your team and like there's hatred in that. But at the end of the day, like they're all serving under the same umbrella, and like they're all at the end of the day, they're all on the same team. Like they're on the United States of America. Like that's the team they're on, and like it's pretty damn cool. Like that's the case. Um, like the tailgate we go to, it's called the Travis Manion tailgate. And for those of you guys that don't know about the story about Travis Manion, he played Navy lacrosse and football. My dad coached him at I think the prep school back in football back in I think probably like 2000. Um, but Travis Manion, there's a book written about him called Brothers Forever. And in that book, it's about the two Navy guys who end up like going their separate ways. One's in the Marines, one's in the SEALs. And Travis Manion ends up dying. He dies in combat in like a super heroic way. The book is amazing. It's one of my favorite reads. Both the dads read the books of their two. They wrote the books of the two like dead sons, and it's really cool. But anyway, Travis Manion, him and his little brothers, he played with. So the three Manion brothers were on the 2003 Navy lacrosse team that lost to Syracuse in the national championship. Just like a cool tailgate. It's called the Travis Manion Foundation tailgate, and Like that's one of my favorite parts of the weekend
So
as
much
well.
swag there.
Yeah, I mean, you get a bunch of free stuff, free alcohol. Everybody's pretty buzzed up, and it pretty much like 80% of people there at the tailgate served in the United States, like Navy or Army, and like you're just like, oh, like thank you for your service. You could say thank you for your service 40,000 times at that game. So really excited for it. So
I'm so juiced up right
we
now.
don't have as much numbers, but this is our 4th year in a row. The Elon guys, kind of getting together and doing Army Navy, and it's kind of been like our thing. So I actually haven't seen Luke since May, since we dapped up and we left Elon. So haven't seen any of my friends from college since like May. So it's gonna be super fun to like be back in Annapolis. And if you guys have never been to Annapolis, like the city is fabulous. I used to live there. My brother was born there. Like, dude, what do you guys say about Annapolis?
I would live there if I could.
It's
It's that
great.
good. It's that good.
It's like a small town European vibe with like,
It does
yeah,
give Europe.
it
Yeah.
literally feels like you're in Europe.
If
Like,
anyone's ever been to Charlottesville, it's very similar to that. That's kind of a
yeah,
deep pull, but
yeah.
it's just like
Charlotte,
it's like an old American city that's like not as big as your huge metro areas, but you can tell there's so much history there.
like Williamsburg, like kind of like how there's brick everywhere.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these are in like Virginia, Maryland area,
Mhm.
like like the older cities. So, and then if you know, I mean, the Naval Academy is beautiful. I've been to both Army's campus, West Point's campus, and the Navy's campus, and like Army's campus is cool, but being on the Chesapeake is just unbelievable. So we'll
This is
probably
also a pro. We have a little Navy bias on this pod, I'd say. So
definitely, but I've been to both,
yeah,
and I really think I thought Army's campus was so incredible, but I just think Navy's the being on the water. It was a little and like there's no town in Army. It's just West Point, right? So there's like you get off the town and it's just like a subway and like whatever. Like Navy is in Annapolis, Maryland, which like is a pretty cool plus.
great
Just
town.
about just about this game. Dude, obviously our Navy's better this year. I think Army's 6-5. We are 9-2. So if we could get this one and then the bowl game, that'd be another 11-win season. But we're just hoping for a double-digit win season. As a Navy fan, like, that's all you can ask for. And like I said, like I don't really care that we're not in the playoff or that we didn't make the AAC championship game. Like I just root for Navy football, and this game's like huge, no matter what. So I think the difference in this game is we have a better defensive line. We have a better defense in general, but nope, not in general. We have a better defensive front seven in general. Luke Pierce, number 35 at edge, and then Griffin Willis at number 95 in the interior, two of our best players on defense. I like Jackson, our nickel, Jackson Campbell, number 14 as well, making big plays today. I mean, not today, this weekend. Then Army quarterback has completed 35 passes all year. So they literally don't throw the football. Like for instance, like Navy, Horvath, I think has like over 100 completions. Let me check that. Let me stats and info that real quick. We didn't have stats and info on their game. Yeah, no, he's got 131 attempts, 81 completions. So he's got, 2.5 times many completions as Helms, the Army quarterback. So not going to be a lot of throwing of the football, but if it is, it's obviously Heidenreich and Chapman getting loose on those, like where the eye candy plays, they sneak them out. So yeah, dude, excited to watch Tessa and the Third Reich and Chapman and Horvath kind of go at it. And yeah. PC, maybe we call it the Fourth Reich. So it's not as
The third
it's Eli
gets me every
Heidenreich.
time.
Come on. That's good. That's good. Yeah, Noah Short is their most explosive player. He leads their team number 15 on Army in rushing and in receiving. So that's really all I got on this game, guys. I'm just excited to watch in person. And I have been to also like I have been to some big games. Like I've been to South Carolina twice, like amazing. Like they're my SEC team. Obviously, Sam went there, so he was a great host. Been to some ACC championship games. I went to Penn State game this year where they lost to Northwestern. But yeah, this game is something else. Something else. But do you guys got anything else about this game or anything college football related before we get out of here?
No, have
Can't
fun this
wait.
weekend, guys. Enjoy.
We
Go
will.
Navy.
We will go Navy.
Gonna miss the fellas there.
Yeah, dude. Definitely.
Well,
Yeah.
there will be a year where we get a live pod from Army
Yes,
Navy, no
dude.
doubt.
There'll be
We'll
a
probably be
year.
on Barstool set. We'll use their stuff.
We'll sneak on before the game and film a quick pod.
Oh, dude. Whenever Sam, yeah. Whenever Arch Law School, the demands are less. And whenever Sam is like a higher up manager at Oracle, running people, saying, fellas, we're gonna go virtual this week. When he gets to make that call, we will have the pod.
Do we know where it's at next year?
Philly.
Philly next
No,
year. I
MetLife
thought.
next year.
Oh, dude, that one
And then
sucks.
Philly's
Oh,
27.
that's fine. I would just go stay with my friend. I would 100% go to that. I would go.
No,
I
we'll,
would
I
really-
mean, we'll go. I'm just MetLife's fine.
The Philly one in 2027 will be biblical. Also,
Oh,
next year will be biblical too.
Dude, the 2027 Philly. Dude, the city that does Army Navy the best is Philly. The entire city goes Army Navy mode. Like, there's banners everywhere. There's Army Navy everywhere. They play Tsunami 8 times in the stadium. The
Best
Lynx,
metric for whether an Army Navy game is good is how many times they play Tsunami.
they literally like MetLife bounces because everybody's jumping up and down synchronized. Like, I mean, not MetLife, not MetLife. The Link. Sorry, the Link. I should have never. That's literally my bad. The Link. Like, I'm sorry. But Lincoln Financial gets up for the tailgates are great. My favorite city is Philly.
Quick, before we go, breaking news.
Uh-oh.
South Carolina has hired TCU's Kendall Briers as its next offensive coordinator.
All that.
Is Josh Hoover have eligibility left?
I don't know, but I'm happy about that. It just became it was been teetered around all week, but they just made it official. I'm pretty excited about that.
It's a good hire. Let's hope he's not like his dad.
And his dad was a good football coach.
They did some other things too.
We're just assembling the children of famous coaches.
Yeah.
Staff.
Beamer, Bryles. Who's your defensive coordinator?
Clayton White, but he is going to get hired by Tennessee apparently.
Damn, you're getting poached. All right, fellas. Guys, thanks for listening to the podcast. And thanks for being with us on this. You'll probably see this on Tuesday or whenever you do your podcast. So, as always, God bless and go Navy.
No mids.
Quick note for y'all. This doesn't have to be on air. I made the
On there with
the Fourward Pass or like our spreadsheet. I put it in the I made a sheet and it's the bowl pick'em and everything's updated.
Ooh,
Oh,
thank you,
nice.
Arch. Thank you, Arch.
So bowl pick'em will be separate from.
Because
That's how
this will just be ATS stuff, and we'll
That's how
pick
this
ATS.
podcast was birthed. The
Yeah,
podcast was
true.
birthed from this.
I don't really feel like posting like this. I'm not making an edit for all these games, so I'll
Maybe
probably
we'll-
just post I'll put like a link in the Instagram and post about it where they can just like click and see how everyone's doing.
Maybe we
If
should make
anybody gives a
Chris-
shit.
Chris
People
should
eat that
probably
up.
pop on for an episode. But okay, sweet.